Welcome to Soul Infused Monday. Welcome. Happy Monday. If you are live right now, or if you're watching the replay, take a moment and leave me a comment below and say hello. It takes about a minute or two. There's a delay. So if you're live or if you're watching the replay on this platform right now, leave a comment below and say hello. I'm super excited that you're here, and I'm going to get started in just a minute. And while you're here with me waiting, just take a nice deep breath. Take a nice deep breath. Relax your body. Take another nice deep breath. Relax your body just a little bit more. Remove any distractions if you have any. And I'm going to dive in just a moment. Hi, Tine. Good to see you. Okay. One last breath. Welcome to the Soul Infused Monday Show. Today, episode number 215, called The 3 Biggest Mistakes When Trying to Break a Habit. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming back to listen, to learn, to grow. I see you. I appreciate you. And I am super excited that you're here today. And I'm actually even more excited because today is the last day where I'm in the Dominican Republic, where I lived for the last 4.5 years. And the last few days and weeks actually have been quite hectic because I'm moving countries. So my new journey starts tomorrow. So I'm excited that you're here one more time with me. Let's dive in. We are still in the beginning of the year, and sometimes it's really easy for new habits that we might want to create, or we might be super motivated in the beginning of the year, and we are still in the beginning of the year. Everything is still available for you. And even if you're listening to this at a later point and it's in the middle of the year, maybe even a different year, it does not matter. Every moment is a good moment to reset and to restart and to reconnect to what you want to create. It is very easy for old patterns or old habits to creep in after the first wave of motivation. And there also may be habits that you've tried to change in the past and it didn't quite work out. So I want to support you today by sharing 3 mistakes that really keep us from being successful in creating a new habit. And before I even share the first one, take a moment to tune in. Take a moment and check in. What is maybe one of your habits that you would like to change? What is something that you would like to let go and create new? Just tune in for a moment. What's one habit that you would love to shift this year? And if you feel like sharing with me, leave a comment below. Or if you're listening to this on a different platform, please send me a message, write a review. In whichever way you can connect with me, I always love to engage with you. First mistake, if we can call it a mistake, I want to start with number 1. It's already the approach. Even I want to break down the statement or how we actually approach habits. Even the term breaking a habit. And I used it in the title because that's what people say. And that's what the definition often is. It's like, I want to break a habit. I want to break it. It sounds like I want to destroy it. It has judgment. It is bad often. It's associated with something bad that we have to break. Now, tune into that energy for a moment. I want to break a habit. Why is this maybe blocking you from actually clearing that habit or changing into a new habit? So when you tune into the energy, I want to break a habit, tune in and you can feel it is tension, it's often pressure, it's judgment, it's a bad habit. So the first mistake we can make basically when we want to really shift something is to approach it in a negative way with judgment and with guilt or with seeing it as something bad. Now, obviously, you do think it's bad, otherwise, you wouldn't want to change it, right? And maybe it's also a habit that really doesn't serve you anymore, and you would like to create a shift, and you can. And my tip for this first mistake is first of all, use a different term. Avoid words like breaking a bad habit. And rather start by shifting to say, I want to let go. Let go is a totally different energy than breaking. Can you feel that? Do you feel the difference? Just, you can even say it internally, break versus letting go. Totally different energy. So first tip, focus on letting go. And then the next step, instead of focusing too much on what you want to get shifted or get rid of, if you want to call it that way, verbalize it in a way that you focus on creating a healthy habit or creating a habit that you would like. Does that make sense? Do you feel the difference? So that's one tip. The other tip that comes with it, obviously, approach it with acceptance versus judgment. Because here's the reality. Any so-called bad habit served you at some point. It was beneficial, not necessarily looking from it from the outside. It's like, oh, I'm smoking, or I'm eating too much, or I constantly say yes when I want to say no. But that old habit served you or it served the old you. It comes also very often from a protection mechanism underneath that is completely unconscious. That doesn't make any logical sense. So when approaching the shift of a habit or creating a new habit or letting go of a habit, approach it, number one, with acceptance of what is and what has been in the past because it served you for a reason. For some reason, you did what you did and you did the best you could. Judging yourself is not going to help you, doesn't feel good, and it's no fun. So that's the first mistake, the approach itself and the judgment. So acknowledge that you did what you did for a reason. Approach this new habit that you want to create or the old habit that you want to let go with acceptance and also acknowledgement, even maybe if you get to the point with gratitude that, hey, this isn't serving me anymore, but it did serve me in the past. Doesn't feel good anymore. That was maybe my old mindset. For my new mindset, this pattern, this is not serving me. So take a deep breath, just tune into this, and you can use this basically for anything, not only for letting go of habits. Check in with your approach. How am I approaching this from the beginning? Because the success of what you're going to try has very much to do with the how you start it. Okay good. I want to give you an example of something that you might think, oh, it's bad, so I got to get rid of it or I got to break it. I'm going to use something from my life and something that comes up from some of my clients. And some habits are easier to let go than others. It really depends on how long they've been with you, how attached they are to certain other triggers or woundings or conditioning. So some pattern or some habits will be easier to shift than others. I'll give you an example with overeating. Now, it's maybe a little bit more complex, but you can substitute it with any other. Overeating is obviously not very healthy or beneficial and creates a lot of emotional distress, a lot of physical distress. It can create isolation, loneliness, shame, a lot of the things that we don't like. Now, at times when that happens in the past, we overeat for a reason. Maybe we cannot handle the underlying anxiety. Maybe we felt lonely and food was our substitution for love. Not the healthiest way, but it benefited us on some level. There was a reason why we wanted to eat so much. I wanted to share that because it's easy to just look at it from a negative perspective, from a judgmental mind. And I invite you to look at your patterns and habits that you want to shift or let go with compassion and understanding and acceptance. Maybe even saying, thank you for the past that you've been with me. I'm ready to shift this. I'm going to let this go. And thank you for being there. Your version of it. And obviously, whatever I share today, pick what resonates with you. Pick what resonates with you. If something doesn't resonate, if something doesn't resonate with you, let it go. Tip number 2, or mistake number 2. Mistake number 2, when approaching or trying to let go of a habit, I'm not using the word break anymore, or I won't use it. And that's a really important one. That goes a little deeper. The second mistake that you want to avoid when you want to let go of a specific habit is that you don't know your triggers. Therefore, you don't have a plan, and therefore you don't have a replacement. I'm going to dive deeper into this. If you don't know your triggers, you basically are a victim of that behavior without any control over it. I give you a few examples. And I would love to hear some of yours. Like if you tell me what your habits are, I can maybe even use one of yours. And I see one here in the comments about setting boundaries, right? And that's often a more deeper ingrained one, but a very good example. If you don't know your triggers, you don't have much control. It could be, and I'm using me as an example again, with food, for example. I know, and much more in the past, that's not a big issue anymore for me. It comes up once in a while and I'm okay with that. But in the past, I struggled severely with binge eating, overeating, and everything that comes with it: shame, guilt, judgment, even self-hatred, depression, so many things. Now, learning about the triggers could be, okay, maybe if this resonates with you, you overeat when you feel lonely. So an example of mine. Or when you actually feel angry, but you don't feel like you can express it. Maybe it's when you are overly hungry, and then instead of eating a small portion or one meal, your blood sugar is so low that you literally just want to overeat, and often do. Just a few examples. There are so many more, and I obviously can only scratch the surface here today. But not knowing your triggers is a big block because you don't know what to do in that moment. And when you don't know what to do in that moment, you are basically without a plan, and you cannot substitute or replace that behavior with something healthier. So you want to be prepared. If you are this year ready to let go of one habit, you want to be prepared. You want to have a plan. You want to know what to do when you also actually get triggered. And I have another example here that I can see in the comments is prioritizing everyone else, but not myself. Hi, Julie, by the way. Love seeing you here. Very common, especially for women. If you're one that is having a hard time setting boundaries or prioritizing everybody else or any other habit, overeating, smoking, gambling, exercising, working, busy, whatever your behavior or pattern or habit is that you would like to change, shift, or let go. Here's my tip. Very important. Take some time and reflect and tune in and discover your triggers. You can use, for example, saying, this week I will pay attention and I will check when did I get triggered and I'm going to write it down. You want to research, you want to discover, you want to be curious. And then you make notes. Oh, why did I do that? What happened before? How did I feel inside that I did that? Another thing for me that I'd noticed with overeating is when I'm disappointed, when I feel rejected. There are many different things. For me, a big one is also not eating enough and getting too hungry. It can be so many different things. It can be something external, mostly it's internal. Could be conflict with your partner. It could be when your kids yell at you. I don't know. It could be anything for you. So my tip is take some time, maybe this week or a couple of days, to research, discover so that you know your triggers, that you can see them so that you have a response time to do something else instead. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be perfect right away overnight, but you want to know your triggers. Once you've done that and you know your triggers and you keep exploring them because they're often very multifaceted, right? Multifaceted. Then you want to think about things. What do I want to do instead? What do I want to do instead? Because often we just want to use willpower and we have this idea. It's like, okay, it's the first of the year, or it's Monday, or it's for whatever reason you want to change a habit. And instead of having a plan and diving a little bit deeper into it, you just want to try it with willpower. Does not work long lasting. I don't know anyone that worked, unless it's a very simple habit that is easy to change and you only take a couple of days with willpower. In general, if you've tried to resolve this in the past and you've not succeeded, maybe one of these three mistakes, and the third one is still to come, might have been in the way for you. So once you know your triggers and you create a little plan, you want to know how to replace it. For example, when you feel the urge of doing something, maybe it's procrastination, maybe it's eating, maybe you feel the urge to say yes, even though you want to say no. Maybe it's the urge to take care of someone else, even though you know your battery is fairly empty. You should take care of yourself first. Think about things that you want to do. Maybe it's taking a deep breath. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's to drink a glass of water instead. Maybe it's, I don't know, the sky is the limit. You know what works best for you. But you want to replace it with something so that you have something that you can do instead. Because if you don't know what to do instead, you won't do anything instead. Take a breath and let that sink in for a moment. Just let that sink in. If you have a habit or pattern that you do regularly and you don't have something to replace it with, you will still do the same thing. I hope you're taking notes. And I'm really inviting you to take time this week to discover your triggers. Let's go into mistake number 3. And that's maybe the most important one, by the way, especially if it's a habit or a pattern or behavior that is deep ingrained, that you wanted to maybe resolve in the past or still working on it, and it seems like it's really not working, and you tried different things. The number 3 mistake, one of the biggest mistakes that you can do in order to really let go of a habit, is not to address the underlying issue. Now, maybe you think, yeah, but I am addressing the underlying issue. That's great. And keep doing that. Don't look at it with judgment or pressure. However, there's something running this pattern, and there's something underlying that needs to be addressed if you're really having a hard time letting this go. So, one of the biggest mistakes is really to not address the underlying issue, because often you don't see it because it's unconscious. It's often attached to something in the past. It's often attached to an underlying anxiety that is running without even a conscious awareness. And I use this example sometimes. When you wake up in the morning, you don't wake up in the morning and you say, oh, you know what? I'm going to sabotage myself today. And actually, I want to eat healthy, but by the end of the day, I'm going to have a pot of ice cream. I'm going to have a chocolate bar, and I'm not going to move. So that at the end of the day, I judge myself, I feel bad about myself, and I feel sluggish. Yeah, sounds funny. Of course, we don't do that early in the morning when we wake up, but that's your intention. And yet, and whatever your behavior or habit is, that by the end of the day, you look back and you say, damn, I didn't want to do it, and I still did. It's because something else is running the program. So, working and addressing the underlying issues is one of the most important things, or the biggest tip I can give you when you want to let go of a habit. Yeah. So, I'm going to pause here for a moment and check comments. Let me know what's resonating with you. What's your biggest aha moment so far? What is landing that you can relate to? And I will give you a few more bonus tips so that you can let go of a behavior pattern that doesn't serve you anymore, and you can create healthier patterns or habits. Let's call them habits because that's something that we consciously work on. Patterns, we got to do a little bit more deeper work. So share with me, and I'm going to take a sip of water while you do that. Okay. Lynn is saying her biggest takeaway is habits are connected to underlying issues. Yes, 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 yes. Great takeaway. Emily saying it's landing. I don't have an alternate plan. Yeah, great. You can create one. Is that not wonderful? You have a plan now. You have a plan to create an alternate plan. I love that. Jessica is saying, becoming aware of my triggers is such great advice and something I plan to work on. Great, great. Don't plan on working on it, work on it. That's fantastic. That's such a good takeaway, Jessica. Like, knowing your triggers, that was a huge aha moment for me in the past when I realized I was just reacting. I wasn't in control. I didn't have the awareness. Awareness is really key. So knowing your triggers will make a huge difference in this process. And Kathy is sharing, I'd like to stay on top of clutter and housework, but willpower isn't working. No, willpower generally doesn't work very well, maybe for a short amount of time. The willpower is not a very strong resource. It's not only you. And there's so much judgment around it. I want you to know that if you've tried something in the past and you thought, what's wrong with me? I cannot do it. I have no willpower. Yeah, because that's not how it works. Because if it would work, let's be real. So If it would be so easy and willpower would be the only thing we need, would you not have changed this already? Would you not actually just have done it by now already? Take a breath. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. Willpower alone generally doesn't work. Knowing your triggers is step one. Yeah, absolutely love this. Oh, thank you. That's a great takeaway. And here another one. Yeah, becoming aware of the triggers, discover your triggers. Okay, I feel like that was, and I really do believe that's one of so simple and so underestimated on not even thought of, right? Good. Let me recap and give you a few bonus tips, and then let's go out and create healthier habits. Does that sound good? Are you with me? Yes. So, number one mistake is the approach. Approach it with acceptance. Approach it by focusing on letting go versus breaking something. Approach it with acknowledgement of how it served you in the past and focus on the creation of the new. In order to let go, you want to create also space for the new. So that's the first mistake and the first tip. The second mistake and the tip is to not only do it with willpower, that you want to know your triggers. Number two, you want to know your triggers. Discover your triggers, create a plan, and know what you are going to do instead. I give you a great example from food. So, if that resonates with you, but you can apply this to anything. Let's say food is an area that you want to improve. You want to eat healthier, meaning maybe you want to eat less sugar and more vegetables. Once you know your triggers and you know, hey, when I'm hungry or when I'm bored or when I feel bad about myself or when I'm resentful, whatever your triggers are, then I'm going to grab the unhealthy food. Number one, don't have unhealthy food in your house if you want to have a healthier diet. I have nothing in my house that if I ever get triggered, it was more relevant in the past, but I mean, I also want to eat healthy. Don't want to have any bad stuff in my house. But that's just an example. Don't have it at home. That's already number one. However, you want to have something instead that's still juicy, that's still yummy, that still is going to give you a satisfaction, and you want to have it easily accessible. That could be always have some apples, pears, your favorite fruit, or some nuts, or if it's sweet, like a dark chocolate, something that is healthier at least. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go from 0 to 100. One healthier step in between, but you want to have it accessible. You want to know, oh my God, I want to grab those chips. I so badly want to grab those chips. Okay, but I don't have them at home because that's what I did. And I know I have this wonderful chia pudding in my fridge or whatever it is. I'm just giving you some inspiration here. Okay. You do whatever works best for you. But know your triggers, have a plan, have a substitution or replacement to go to. And third, and most important, address the underlying issue. Get help, work on it. If you're working, that's a huge piece that I do with my clients. If you have a coach, work with your coach, your therapist, your healer, your support group. If you want to help with that with me this year, reach out, send me a message. This is what I do for my clients, and I'd be happy to help you too. But address the underlying issues, get help, get support, and pluck it out from the roots and not just cut the superficial branches. Eh? That's a good analogy, actually, that's just coming. It's as if you want to remove a weed from your garden. You have this beautiful garden, as a metaphor, obviously. You are this beautiful garden, your health, your life. And there is this weed that keeps growing, 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 and you keep cutting it and you keep not wanting it, and you try different things, but you never dig deep enough. Ooh, I feel someone got just a real aha moment. I can feel it energetically. But yeah, you don't dig deep enough to really grab it from the roots and to get it out so it does not grow anymore. Take a breath. Take that with you. And I invite you to take another breath, to become present, to let that sink in, and to take a moment to integrate, to process. And I also invite you, if you have not shared with me yet, what is your biggest takeaway from today? What is your biggest takeaway? And share with me. I always love to hear from you. If you are, sorry about that noise, so maybe only I heard it. If you're listening to this on Insight Timer or Spotify, leave me a review. I would so appreciate it. And I will take a moment to go a last time over your comments, and then I will let you go and be inspired to create. Emily saying, oh, me, what might look like a flower in the past might be a weed. That's such a good one. Yes. Oh, this is so good, Emily. Thank you for sharing. Yes, yes. You might think it's a flower, but it's actually a weed. Yeah. Discover, dig deeper. I like that. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm super excited to join, or if you join me. Okay, let's do this again. I am super excited. I'm super excited for you to come back next Monday. I'm going to be in Colombia if all goes well. I don't know exactly where. I have no idea where I'm going to greet you. It's an adventure, but I am going to be in Colombia next Monday. Please join me again for a new episode from a new chapter in my life, from a new adventure of Soul Infused Monday together, you and me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your commitment. I appreciate that you're showing up no matter what, and that you keep expanding, growing, and blossoming, because you are beautiful, you are valuable, you are lovable, and that's how you are deserving of feeling every single day. Much love.